In this video, I'm going to show you how I transformed this boring, outdated home office into a modern YouTube studio. Now, everything discussed in this video, I'll have links to it down in the description, so if you see something that you like for your own space, be sure to check that out. Now, originally, when we moved into this home 17 years ago, I bought this big, massive desk that took up most of the space. It wasn't really conducive, and it absolutely did not look at all modern. So several months ago, when I decided to renovate this space, I knew that I had to get rid of that desk first. So the first thing I wanted to do is modernize that by going to a stand-up desk. Now, Vori was kind enough to send this beautiful stand-up desk for review, and so I'll cover some of that details here in this video. So the first thing about this desk is it is heavy. The wood that's on it is natural, thick, and really durable, and it's got a gorgeous finish to it. The motorized legs are super sturdy and they're really heavy as well. Now, because the desk was so heavy and I knew that I wanted to have easy access behind it for cable management and to be able to clean out from under it, I bought some casters that I installed underneath, and that was super helpful because this desk weighs about 150 or 200 pounds with the top as well as the base. Now, one thing I love about this desk is the setup was super easy. Probably took me about an hour to put together. Here in these photos, you can see all of the parts that are used, and there really isn't much to it. Now, the Vori desk does have 4 presets, which is super handy, especially if you've got 2 people or multiple people that will be using this desk. So for me, I have one preset for my height sitting down as well as standing up, and then I also have 2 other presets for my wife as well. So at any time we can come into the room, walk over and hit our preset. The only thing I need to do is move this light out of the way so that the desk doesn't hit it on its way up. Now, this desk is super spacious. Now, of course, we don't have any drawers underneath. You can always purchase those like on Amazon and add that functionality to it. But I just love the clean look of it. I've got all of my stuff laid out on the desk, nice and neat. And I believe that it allows me to be more productive because of its cleanliness. Now, there's several configurations for this desk, and one of the options I chose was this beautiful live edge on the front of the desk. Now, of course, if you don't want that, you can just get the standard, and those options are available on their website. And they also have some less expensive options. I'll leave the links for those models down in the description as well. Now, overall, I've been using this desk for about 2 months now, and it has performed absolutely flawless. Everything about this is gorgeous. My wife says that it has a high WAF. So for those of you in the audio industry, you know that stands for wife acceptance factor. So Jessica gives it a huge thumbs up, and I'm grateful for that. For my reference monitors, whether I'm editing a video or just listening to some music, are the Klipsch 5s, the McLaren edition. Now, these speakers are really phenomenal. They work great as a 2-channel setup, even in a living room. They've got tons of bottom end, and I love the fact that there's an app that you can dial in the settings for your choosing. Now, these speakers produce a lot of bass on their own, and when you compile that with the fact that it's on a hard, flat surface, it really enhances that bass. Now, for my taste, it kind of muddied the mid-range a little bit. So what I did is back the bass down a little bit in the app. And then I also bought these little foam feet that slide right underneath and elevate it up. Not only does it separate it from the desk, it provides some absorption, but it also angles the speakers up so that the tweeters are aligned right at my listening position. Now, for live streaming and Zoom calls, I use the Canon M6 Mark II. Now, the lens I'm using with it is the Sigma 18-35. This is a beautiful lens. It's got a decent amount of focal length, but it just provides a really great amount of depth of field, which allows you to have that blurry background during your meetings or during your live streams. Now, this was my first 4K camera that I used to record on, and of course, now I'm using the Canon R6, which is a much higher end camera. Now, for lighting, I have 2 lights. On the left, I've got a fill light that kind of fills in just some of the shadows on the left side of my face. Over on the right, we have a much larger light source, and that is my main key light. Now, this is an Amaran light. It's basically a less expensive model than the well-known aperture lights. Now, I needed to have something that was pretty small and compact because this room really isn't that big. And so I went with this particular model because it's really small profile. And then I also went with a small softbox, as you can see, that's attached to the front of it. Now, the purpose of the softbox is to soften the light and allow it to kind of diffuse some of those hard shadows that just a regular light source would produce. And then if you look at the front of that diffuser, you can see this grid. Those black grids allow the light to not spill out into the room, but it mainly focuses on what it's aimed at, which would be the front right side of my face. Now, for my microphone setup, I'm using the Rode Podcaster mic that is connected to a Fosrite Solo via XLR. And then from that audio interface, it's connected to my computer. The Podcaster microphone is attached to my desk using the Rode boom arm. Now, this is super convenient to be able to move the microphone out of the way when it's not being used. Now, this is a great audio setup and will give your audio just a really nice clean sound, which is perfect for my needs as a content creator when I'm doing live streams or voiceovers, but it's also a great microphone to use for your video conferencing calls like on Zoom. Now, my main computer that I use for work as well as editing 4K footage is this custom built PC that I built probably about a year ago. Now, these specs on the computer are perfect for my needs. They edit 4K footage with no problem, and it's just a great workhorse of a computer. Paired with that, I've got a monoprice 32-inch wide monitor, and this has got a beautiful image and really just provides a lot of real estate when I'm working in Photoshop, Adobe Premiere Pro, or if I've just got 30 browser tabs open. Now, when I'm traveling or doing a home theater tour, I've got my MacBook Air. This is a great computer, and again, it allows me to edit 4K footage with ease. Attached to that is a multi-purpose dongle, and that allows me additional functionality such as USB as well as HDMI. So I can connect an HDMI cable to my large 32-inch monitor, and that's just much easier to edit on than a 13-inch MacBook. Now, I did purchase the separate keyboard and mouse, and again, that's super handy here at the office, but when I'm traveling, I usually don't take that with me. Now, when I'm traveling, I always carry my Anker power bank. This thing is a beast and holds a lot of juice, and that's great for charging your cell phone, your portable devices like your iPad, as well as your laptop computer. Now, internally, I've got a lot of storage, but I also have several external hard drives that are connected just for additional 4K footage that I store locally here at my office. Up here, I've got my Youthman YouTube sign that my kids bought for me on Etsy, and then that's connected to a Govee Wi-Fi plug. I installed 2 of those same Govee LED lights for my shelf, and then I also purchased an additional stand-up Govee lamp. Now, with the Echo Dot, I can control all of the Govee lights, change their colors, turn them on and off, adjust their brightness. But the main thing that I do is through the Echo Dot, I just set timers so that the lights are all on by the time I'm in here working and ready to go. And then usually I have it turned off right at midnight, and that kind of gives me a signal in my brain, hey man, it's time to get some sleep, and we'll hit it the next day. Now, because the room has a lot of hard surfaces, I did add an area rug. It's not super thick, but I really love the vibe of it and just the colors. And so it adds a little bit of cushioning and sound absorption from the hardwood floor. But the biggest thing that I've done acoustically in here is add some acoustic panels. Now, these panels were DIY. They were utilized in my theater room prior to me purchasing and upgrading those. So I had those out in the garage and thought I'd put them to good use in here. I probably need to install a few more because there's still a lot of hard surfaces, but overall it definitely dampens the sound quite a bit, and again makes it a lot better sound for my live streams as well as any Zoom calls that I make. Now, back here, just some additional equipment. Up here I've got my Phaeton wireless noise canceling headphones. Absolutely love them. I've got a review of those on the channel. I've got my GoPro that I use when I'm traveling, and especially anything that deals with underwater. Mainly I use that for like family vacations and such, but it comes super handy. We've got our Hi-Fi Man Sundara headphones. Those are fantastic. I use those for my live streaming. I've got a 70 to 200 millimeter zoom lens from Canon. That's great when I'm taking pictures of my daughter when she's doing cheer. I'll also be using this lens for M-Wave when we do our seminars. I'll be recording with my Canon R6 as well as this lens and then the wireless microphones. We've got our YouTube Silver Play button for reaching 100,000 subscribers, and that is a huge thanks to you guys. Down below that, I've got the DJI OM5. This is a gimbal for my mobile device. And then below that, the Mini DSP UMic 2 that I use in my theater room when I'm doing calibration or when I'm taking measurements in my room. The last thing that we added in here that was so desperately needed was the Plantation Shutters. Not only does it help keep this room a lot cooler, but it allows me to either block all the light coming from the outside, which is really bright during the early mornings, and it also allows me to let some light in the evening when the sun is on the back side of the house. Well, I hope this video has given you some inspiration for your own home office or your YouTube studio. As I mentioned, I'll have links to all of these products down in the description below, so if you're interested in those, be sure to check those out. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we will catch you in the next video.